गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम to Gana Short. Gana Short में आप सबका स्वागत है. Today we're going to touch on something very interesting and very relevant to India. The layers of proxy war which we are confronting. Why do I call it layers of proxy war? We all know proxy war is something which Pakistan does against us in Kashmir, Punjab, ये war. It started in the 80s. I still remember it. It started in the 80s, just after the Northern Line Summit, when the first, group of Sikhs wanted to enter Delhi and disrupt that whole story, and it was not done, and it went back, and then the Punjab insurgencies really started. Bhindranwala came, and that phase got over around 92, 93, when elections were held, maybe up to 94. Then simultaneously, the proxy war in Kashmir started. 91, 92, I remember still I was to be posted to Kashmir. And for some reason, I didn't go there. And, someone wanted me there part of to combat the CI ops. The things were quite different then. Things have changed. But the proxy war has not left us. That is the beauty. And what's more, it's increased. Frankly speaking, it's increased. We talk of, rising India, fourth largest economy, regional power. We talk of net security provider, X, Y, Z. But at the same time, we need to understand that the huge layers of this proxy war confronting India. What comes from Pakistan is just a minute fraction of this whole story. It's just not terror. It's more, it's economic, it is digital, it is, the works, technological, everything. Right? And so what are you going to see? What am I going to talk of? Oh, I must put it across, right? I started with this article which I saw. General Hashn had written it. A beautiful article. Of course, he's focused only on the terror and the response to terror, which he's put it very well. He was my co-commander earlier. A lot of respect for him. But, it set me thinking. I said, is this the only layer of proxy war which is being, fought against us? No, much more. So what I'll do is I'll first present to you what General Hashn has written, and then I'll give you the other layers which are there and how do we go about it. Some we are doing, some we're not, and some we are probably not even aware in a true sense as to how we want to counter it. So today is just about awareness. I don't have solutions. Solutions have to come from people. Solutions have to come from the government and organized response. Right? And what did he write? He wrote, a very relevant thing. This is a trend of the times. Proxy warfare loses edge against sustained state countermeasures. Why this thinking of this article? Because for long it was felt that the proxy war is not counterable by conventional responses. That conventional responses cannot blank out proxy war. But now Op Sindoor and what's happened in Iran have countered this whole story. We've used conventional methods to dismantle proxy war as we understand it. But what's beyond? So first we'll analyze this wonderful article and then we'll talk the rest. Very important statement General Hashn makes in the opening thing. He says proxy war, once the strategic lever of the weak, is no longer immune to exposure or retaliation. It was always felt that the weaker party will use the asymmetry of proxy war, terror, influence, all that. But that, in the past 3 months, has been dismantled. What has come to light is that these can be tackled. This kind of warfare can be tackled by conventional methods. India has proven it, Israel has proven it, right? So that's very important. It's a significant thing that has happened. But does that mean that you have the answer to the proxy wars? Probably not. But let's go ahead. And he makes the case beautifully. He says Iran's vast network of regional proxies, once considered its strategic depth, has buckled under the weight of Israel's conventional military superiority and unrelenting operational tempo. It didn't start yesterday. Iran's capability to use proxies, its militant proxies, started after the Gulf War too, when it got an opening to spread out through Iraq. When the Iraq regime, which was Saddam Hussein's Sunni regime based on the Baath party, was overturned and the Shia regime was put in, the Shia crescent started. Religion. The regional proxies were based on religion. Whatever it is, they built. And that was a fearsome proxy. There's a major part of West Asia, I would say the northern part of West Asia, north of the Gulf, was all under, Iran. We know it. While Iran didn't have a great conventional military edge, it had this great superiority of its proxies, who were operating much below conventional levels. And the tempo was very high. Every day something was happening in that area, whether it was in Lebanon, all that gone in 6 months. And he makes the case that it went under Israel's conventional military superiority. It started with Gaza, then destruction of Hezbollah, Syria, now of course Houthis and what is remnant of Iran. Right? Is it only conventional? Or is it something else? After all, when did Hezbollah get dismantled? When the pager attacks took place, the telephone attacks took place, when the Hassan Nasrallah was assassinated through a bombing, when Ismail Hania was assassinated in Iran. So the conventional military superiority was aided by subconventional operations. That's the important part. And it created a tempo. End of story. Now, let's look at Pakistan. He says Pakistan's long war of attrition against India and J&K, fought with terrorist proxies, ideological indoctrination, deniable cross-border support, has been steadily degraded, not through spectacular retaliation, but through sustained and calibrated national effort. On the dot. For long times, we felt we didn't have an answer to this. Unlike what Israel did it over the past 9 months. Started, I would say, with dismantling Hassan Nasrallah, Hezbollah, the pager attacks. That was when Israel started getting the hand. For us, it's a little different. It started with long back, rooting out, terror and proxy from Punjab, the Khalistani gangs. When it spread up north, then it took Kargil, then it took, Balakot, it took the cross LOC surgical strikes. Now it's taken Op Sindur, where we can say that a large part of the terror network in Pakistan has been, I wouldn't say dismantled, destroyed. It will come up again. It's like cancer. It's malignant. Okay. But it took sustained and calibrated national effort. It took a whole lot of risks in doing it. We risked nuclear war for doing this. And then you took political measures, a whole lot of political measures which have probably gone unknown. Things like Sadbhavna, Article 370. I think that is the most important political measure. Right? And then he goes on to say for 3 decades, Iran treated its proxies as a substitute for conventional power. So did Pakistan. Pakistan, so lame was this. It allowed Iran to operate below the threshold of open war, exporting disruption while shielding itself from direct consequences. Pakistan played this to a T. However, in contrast to Iran, which relied almost exclusively on proxies, because it didn't have that conventional superiority, because it was under heavy sanctions, it didn't have an air force, it didn't have a great ground force, it didn't have a great navy. Okay. Pakistan did something else. It paired its proxy doctrine with conventional escalation and nuclear deterrence. The spectrum of warfare, subconventional, conventional, and nuclear, it paired all 3. When it wanted, it went conventional, like it did in Kargil. When it didn't, it used the subconventional terror proxies with the nuclear. And it caught us in a bind. We didn't know what to do. Right? That's what he says. The aim was never conventional confrontation. It was destabilization, internationalization, and delegitimize Indian control over Kashmir through deniable violence. The violence was always denied. We're giving moral support, like what this fellow Hafiz is saying even today. When I say Hafiz, for those of you who don't know, we're talking of Asim Munir. We are giving diplomatic, moral, and that kind of a support, political support. Okay. That is the doctrine of 1,000 cuts, which Ziaul Haq enunciated. But I'll go back before that. It was not what Ziaul Haq enunciated. Ziaul Haq put it in a doctrinal form, but it was started by Jinnah in 47. After all, it was he who first started sending those people into, raiders into Kashmir, 47. The aspect of proxy attack on India didn't start with Ziaul Haq or the present lot of military guys. It started before that. It started with Ayub Khan, who sent again raiders into J&K in 65. That's how it started. Gibraltar. So what have we done over years? And that's what General Hashn has very clearly put out. We've carried out calibrated control over infiltration routes, aggressive counter-infiltration postures, and border surveillance. Because we politically didn't want to go across the LOC. Was it a good thing to have done or not a good thing to have done? Militarily, it was a great thing to have done. But I still think politically, we should have gone across the LOC. Even now, the thing which we are making a mistake is that the political outreach to POJK is not there. While their outreach is here, we have not done that. Because at the end of the day, proxy war has to be dealt at some level by proxy methods. It's not always conventional thing that has to be done. And this is where I think the time has come, and why I'm saying the layers which I'm going to talk of will tell you why we need to think differently. Because the kind of proxy war we are having will not get solved by conventional methods. There's no conventional answer. Our military does not have the answer to the kind of proxy war we are facing. This is a respite. What's happened in Op Sindoor is a respite. Let's not have any doubts about it. It will come back. Like he says, we did target all networks, terrorist networks, ISI networks, everything. It included financial, logistic services of separatists, militant groups, overground workers, and illegal terror financing. All that, we did it. We did it beautifully. And I think it reached a new level after Article 370 abrogation. Then we did a lot of information campaigns, ground level convergence. We undermined the legitimacy of park-backed narratives. And then we did the conventional. So far, so good. Then we re-established deterrence without losing narrative control. The narrative was with us, we re-established deterrence. But unfortunately, Pakistan doesn't think so. They still dared to do what they did in Pahalgam. Right? But after Op Sindoor, are we clear that Pakistan has learnt its lesson? That we should not go this route? I don't think so. We just heard 4 days back when Asim Munir came out and said, oh, Pakistan is still going to support Kashmir. He gave it out in full uniform in the Naval Academy. In a conventional setting, he spoke about a proxy war which he is going to support as a nation in Kashmir. He spoke of his brethren and sisters in Kashmir, how he's going to give political and diplomatic and moral and all kinds of support. So it's not gone. Okay, it's not gone. Suddenly you see in the past 4-5 days, articles and videos and things coming out of how Pakistan won in that, what's that, banyanless, what's that word? Of banyan. So, as per them, they have destroyed 35 of our airfields. That's what one of the ex-air chiefs of Pakistan has claimed today. So they're living in a hubris of deception. As per them, they have won. India lost. And there, everything is intact. It's a matter of restructuring it, about which intimation is coming. And that's what the point is made. He says Pakistan's model, though battered, remains institutionally embedded in its military and intelligence doctrines. It may recede, but it is unlikely to vanish. It's not going to go away. India must not assume Pakistan's proxy war is over. While the methods may evolve, the strategic intent remains intact. I would take it to a level further. I think we need to imagine the other proxy wars which are being fought against us for us to take it to the next logical level, because I think we need to have a holistic outlook. So he's given some measures for this kind of a proxy war. Strengthen counter, drone and cyber intelligence. Expand psychological and informational campaigns to deny Pakistan any narrative space, especially amongst disaffected segments in our part of India, or rather in India. Right? Then you need to have diplomatic engagement with the Gulf and Central Asian nations so that you can shrink Pakistan's support base within the Islamic world. And then he says conventional deterrence must be modernized with precision capabilities for proportional responses. Most critically, India must build clear strategic signaling, making it evident that any proxy attack will draw domain-specific retaliation, proportionate but unmistakable on India's terms. Perfect. Just think, just doing this to Pakistan, will it solve a problem? Do we have problems elsewhere? Just going by what he says, there are a lot of disaffected elements within India. There's a huge political opposition to what India is doing to either Pakistan or China, either through communists or people who feel that Islamists and radicals in India. Let's face it, we have Islamists and radicals in India who are still pro-Pakistan for whatever reason. We know that people have gone from here and participated in ISIS-based operations. You have chief ministers who, wish Xi Jinping on his birthday. That element is always there within India, which works against India. How do you handle this? Right. So it's in this context I gave it a thought. What are the layers of proxy war which we are facing? Let's identify, because identifying these layers and the kind of proxy wars which we confront is probably the first thing to eradicate them. Just concentrating on Pakistan won't help us. Obviously, we have to counter terror and militia proxies, as what General Hashn said. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt on that. But what about geopolitical proxies? After all, if you take the Iran model, Iran used their militias geopolitically. So there is a geopolitical model of proxies being used against India. Who are the guys or the nations which are being used as proxies? Pakistan. Pakistan itself is being used as a proxy against India. And this is something we need to understand today. As we are talking of Quad, BRICS, and this and that great Indo-US strategic cooperation, trade deal, all that. Our prime ministers and BRICS conference in Brazil and external affairs ministers in USA. The undisputable fact is that USA has aligned itself, or Pakistan has aligned itself with USA. And Pakistan itself is now a proxy for USA against India, as far as I'm concerned. It could be against China, it could be against Afghanistan, it could be against Iran. I couldn't care a damn. But it is now a proxy against India. And that's what came out in Op Sindoor. If you have not recognized it, we are fools. Same thing happened in Bangladesh. If you think destabilization of Bangladesh affected China, it did affect China so far to some extent, but not fully. Then we are again living in a fool's paradise. After all, the destabilization happened at American interest, at American behest. There's no doubt about it. The problem in Sri Lanka became a proxy for us after we quit there. And this entire proxy business was being controlled by Norway or Dutch, wherever, that European guys who used to mediate between LTT and others. And then when they went, the Chinese came. And the Chinese came and, the Rajpaksas and all that, who are completely pro-China, anti-India. Now, we know now, just 3 days back, a Chinese vice minister called Pakistan and Bangladesh and sat in Kunming and did a deal. That's a proxy thing. Maldives. So we have, you call it string of pearls, call whatever you want. And just yesterday, day before, I analyzed the Chinese military capability and what they're likely to do. What is that they're likely to do? They're going to do the indirect thing. So that indirect thing will come through proxies. And those proxies are there. I mean, I've just identified, you can put Nepal also part of the proxies. right? So you have a system where both China and USA are using proxies against us. How do you handle this? Question is, how do you handle this? You can't handle it conventionally. Do you handle it politically, geopolitically? Do you handle it economically? How do you handle this? Do we have a plan? I mean, do we recognize this problem? You know, you take the case of what's happening in Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine. I mean, the entire war is by a proxy war geopolitically. USA, EU, and Ukraine. Ukraine is just a bakra in that it's a only proxy against Russia. Right? And look at Latin America, the kind of proxy wars which are happening, and look at Africa, which I have not lifted here, all that. If you see all their models to control resources, to control everything, you see that we are in a geopolitical war of proxies against us, directly against us. What do we do? Are you strong enough to create problems for USA and China? Or do you want to break the proxies? One way is break the proxy, like what Israel did against Iran and its proxies. Of course, that was a military approach. Is there a different approach for our proxies? Why I put Sri Lanka and Maldives? A political approach or economic approach has probably solved these proxies to some extent. That these proxies are now going to be dependent on us, especially Sri Lanka. You're investing in their ports, you're investing in their docks, you're investing in many things. So Sri Lanka is going to be bound by you. That's a great approach. But what do you do with Pakistan and Bangladesh? Pakistan, of course, is a lost case. What do you do with Bangladesh? A population who's hostile to us. A leadership which is anti-India. So we have to think. We have to really think. Then look at the conventional proxies. General Hashn spoke about sub-conventional proxies. That we've been able to handle the sub-conventional proxies through conventional methods. How do you handle these conventional proxies? I mean, I've written Pakistan, Israel, and Ukraine. Yeah, Israel was a proxy for USA against Iran. There's no doubt. And same with Ukraine for EU and the West against Russia. It's been 3 years between Ukraine and Russia. And Russia has not been able to solve this proxy problem. And I doubt if, Israel has been able to solve the Iran problem or Iran has been able to solve the Israel problem. That's going to continue. That's going to come up. So how do you solve this Pakistan as a conventional proxy? And especially because it is nuclear armed and it has got more sophisticated capability than Iran had. And if you go by what is on news, they're building one more reactor. And here's a nation which has got no economy left. It can't recover. No water. Nothing. But 2-3 things are going ahead. Its military development is going ahead. Its nuclear establishment is racing ahead. At one level, it is backed by China. At another level, it is backed by USA. How do you solve this conventional proxy? The locus of all the proxies is Pakistan. So do you need, this was my view earlier, but we had no choice, right? That there's no military options against Pakistan. So if there are no military options against Pakistan, what are those options which we have to generate for ourselves? Is it a nuclear option? Is it a subconventional option? Or is it an option of a mixture between subconventional and conventional? It has to be sustained. It's not going to be overnight. Yeah, we have started IWT. Do we have the political legs to go through it? Do you have the commitment internally to go through it? Do you have the budgets to go through it? These are the questions which we have to answer for ourselves. Do you have the conventional capability to ensure that Pakistan, cannot respond? Cannot respond. I'm not saying will not respond. Cannot. If you had that and you had applied it, probably option the results would have been different. So you have to develop those conventional capabilities, which will ensure that the Pakistan's conventional capabilities are stymied before they can be applied. Then you have technological proxies. And that proxyism will continue. Illegal transfer of technology will continue. How do you stop that? Proliferation of nuclear technology from China to Pakistan will continue. Proliferation of missile technology from China to Pakistan will continue. Proliferation of arms will continue, irrespective of whether they do well in war or not. So what do you do? That proxyism in our case is there. I mean, China has this track record with North Korea. Now there's the news. Will Iran be the next North Korea? And I'm going to examine it. What's the implications of Iran being the North Korea in this area? How do you handle that? So these are some of the hard questions which we have to answer for ourselves. Then this is also an era of economic proxyism. Okay. China has used Vietnam, Malaysia, Bangladesh, and many more countries as economic proxies in its war with USA. And this war didn't start yesterday with Trump's trade war. It started with the WTO. They offshored all their businesses after 3-4 years back after COVID to all the other countries. From the other countries, which are all surrogate proxy countries, they started exporting to USA because the tariffs on China direct were increased. And it didn't start with Trump, it started with Biden. Okay. You are also stuck in the same problem. The same things will be used against you. Then the proxyism extends to financial weaponization and sanctions. You see how Russia has been sanctioned. Yesterday, that chap, Senator Lindsey Graham, he's come and said yesterday, day before, that look, unless India stops buying Russian oil, we'll put 500% tariff, and I've spoken to Trump about it. And this is at a time when you're going in for a trade deal with USA. Or external affairs minister sitting there and talking of Quad and cooperation. So they're using the economic proxy against us. Export control will come in. Where do you go? Right? So you see that India has to have a clear response, which is geopolitical, it is military, it is economic and technological response. A large part of this response is from within. You become technologically strong. You can't. Okay, let's look at it this way. If suppose tomorrow we are slapped with sanctions, is there a way out for us. We have had tremendous experience with sanctions. I have no doubt about it. Okay, we've gone through a lot of sanctions. We know how to handle sanctions. We've gone through the pain of sanctions right from 71 war. We went through MTCR, everything, and but we came out of it. But that was an India of a different era. Are you ready for sanctions today? When your ambitions are to become the fourth largest or the third largest economy, do you realize what are your strong points to trade against that? That, okay, you put sanction on me, I'm going to do this. Do we have our game plan ready? Do you have our chessboard ready? For example, very simple, but let me explain. Oh, rare earths. China said we'll not give you rare earth magnets and all that. So what have we done? We've said we'll not export rare earth ores. Period. Because China was getting our rare earth ores from somewhere else through third parties, through proxies. Because this economic world, there's a lot of proxyism going on. So you have a way out, and then you say, okay, I have rare earths. I have rare earths. So let me develop my own and start trading. We might look, that doesn't mean you escape the pain of all these sanctions. You have to go through that pain because you didn't think of this, say, 5 years, 6 years back. Because the lead time for us to use those rare earths and convert them into magnets or whatever material, actual minerals, the lead time is 4 to 5 years. Right? And till then, what do? Suffer? So the whole story which I'm trying to put across is definitely Pakistan is the spearhead of all proxy war. But behind that spearhead, there are shafts. And along with this spearhead and shaft, there are minor pinpricks which are going to come to you from others. Do we have a plan to counter these proxies? We need to have a country by country approach, proxy by proxy approach. Then, and most importantly today, let me put it across. I'm not too bothered about China today. Because China is going through its own problems, and those problems are not going to come out easily. Right? The country of concern to me is USA. Because USA is speaking very clearly in 2-3 different tongues. If there is one country I'm not comfortable with today, it is USA. Right? Let me be very honest, I didn't expect it. Like everyone else, like all of you guys, I also didn't expect it. But it has happened. So if it has happened, is there a change necessitated by our thinking? By our orientation towards USA? If they are transactional, should we be also transactional? There's no love lost. But this is a big question. This is the big question which I leave. The country of concern to India today is not China, it's not Pakistan, it is not Russia, it is USA. We have to solve that bigger question. The smaller question of Pakistan is something we can solve. Right. I've done. Let me take a few questions. I hope you people have liked this video. If you have liked this video, do press that thumbs up button, subscribe to Gunner Shot, and also join in as members. I still maintain, I don't understand why subscription to Gunner Shot has gone down, right? Or for that matter, views have gone down. I mean, okay, let me, yeah. Kamath, good morning. Right. Yeah. Hans also good morning. Akash Jai Hind. Okay. Narsimha Rao, good morning. Vani Raju also good morning. Jeet, good morning. Rohan, how are you? Okay. And Lofi also good morning. Roshan, good morning. Rohan, good morning. Yeah, we have said that. MK Sundaram, also Ram Ram. Mrs. Claire's morning. Vani Raju says, RBI bringing the United Lending Interface soon. Please make a session about ULI. It will be a game changer for merchandise department as well as our youth has utilized this opportunity. No need to Google. Let me have a look at it. I don't understand it so far, Vani. So let it come out, let it roll out, and sooner or later I will get back to you on this. Right? I'll be very frank with you. I'm not too clear about it at this point of time. Any comments on the demographic change in Northeast Christian countries funding the change, Philippines, infiltration from Bangladesh, native cultural being completely destroyed? I don't think that is happening because Northeast turned Christian long back. It turned Christian, during the British times itself when we didn't have control over it. Okay. Uh, and Christian countries funding Northeast is not new. The American evangelical societies were present in Nagaland and Manipur and Mizoram long back. Nothing new. You're not talking anything new. Okay, and infiltration through Bangladesh also will not reduce. Let's be very clear. For the simple reason they have no resources, people are there. It will happen. So you have to tackle it differently. These internal proxy wars are an instrument of political party policy. These political outfits continue with the British divide and rule concept and cloak it with deniability, your views. It's more complex than that. It's more complex than that. At some point, to some extent, what the Prime Minister has done by sending those multi party delegations to various countries will help. But this is something which we need to capitalize on. Already, I see a certain shift happening in public statements by opposition leaders, but I think the time has come when the ruling party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, and our Prime Minister have to take the opposition along with them. It's okay to compete for votes and all that. And you say, mera chaddar is whiter than yours. That's okay. But the deep polarization which has been evident between our opposition and ruling parties at state level and central level has been horrible. If we can get over that, a lot of this proxy effort can be taken off. Yeah. Tejovati, good morning. And Sylvia says, good morning. Lots of love from California. Thanks a lot, Sylvia, from California. California is a nice place. I've been there a couple of times. Jai Hind, Neil. Quad has refused to name Pakistan in the statement but has condemned terrorism. Is this a bittersweet victory for us? What is the purpose of Quad from our point of view? I'll do this. Quad and BRICS, we'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do this, right? Quad and BRICS and what's the use? Good morning. Proxy war in today's time are like viruses. Rising one's immunity is the only answer. Completely agree with you. How do you do it is the question. And a lot of it comes from within. It's not external, it is within. There's a huge difference between sub-state actor like Hezbollah and country like our Padosi Mulk. Padosi Mulk allocates direct resources. SF soldiers signing up for terror challenges way forward. No, I don't think so. I don't agree with you. You must understand, Hezbollah was funded by Iran. It was raised by Iran. There's a bigger there's a great sophistication in the way Hezbollah came out. It was not only a political party, it was also a militia. And it ran a government of its own within a government. And there's a lot of lesson in that. And some way, probably there was an exchange of views between what Hezbollah was doing and what Pakistan was doing within Kashmir. And how our own political parties were sidelined. Uh, right? Israel took that out through surgical action. We took it out through political action. That's a difference. And my view is for most of these proxy actions, the political action is more important. And that's what we are missing out. I think today's Indian government can see through the Pakistani mindset. That is why its policy of not differentiating between terrorists and Pakistan army. I agree with you, Sylvia. There's no doubt our government has this thing, but there are problems in this also. The problem is, if suppose Pakistan carries out a terrorist attack today, what will your answer be? It's nice to say I'll carry out war. How? If suppose Pakistan carries out a terrorist attack in which there is no direct involvement of Pakistan immediately, how do you declare it as an act of war? So these are the complications which have come up because what has happened in Op Sundur is we have raised the bar. And if Pakistan crosses it, how do you handle Pakistan? This is a question which India has to answer. There are no easy solutions. It is not one solution which is going to work. There's more. Unfortunate that INC and other political outfits think that the citizens do not understand these proxy wars. They still think that the USP for electoral victory is roti, kapda or man. I will not completely agree with you because there's become a trend for many people to run down the Congress and to think that they don't know what issues are. I dare say that we're not given them enough space, and rather we also have to understand. Look, they've got a lot of seats one way or the other. People have faith in them. There's a pluralism of our democracy. We need to respect that. And like I said, the things which have happened in Op Sindur might lead to that, but let us see. Yeah, isn't it the case that the US creates proxies and uses them to destabilize nations that don't align with its interests and to change regime change of its choosing? This is what I was talking of, Sundaram. That's my worry. That's my concern. That's my concern. And destabilization, where you can't do democratically, you can do undemocratically. And the US is very good at it, and it has got levers of power to do it within India. Buddhist Tibet will not rebel like fanatic Islamists, so we'll talk of that separately. No. Yeah, there were reports of Pakistani channels being unbanned again. Why should this step be even taken? No, I think we should not have banned them also in the first place. Let them talk and counter them rather than not knowing what they're doing. It's a matter of thinking differently. Yeah. Great analysis, sir. Shouldn't we openly support Baluch to demonstrate our readiness for proxy war? This will also change the narrative from Kashmir to real human rights violation. Vicky, this is one of the things which you can do, Baluch or TTP, but we have a lot more which we can do in terms of proxy war. A lot more. And you need to do politically. This proxyism has to come politically. You need to have clear political direction. If you understand proxy wars, a large part of proxy war is political orientation. And that is something which one has to think of. Yeah, layers of proxy war. Thanks for taking up this topic, sir. When we talk of war theory, is proxy war justified before war, in war, after war? Your views. The start to any war is proxy war. You first do proxy wars and then execute it. So it gets weaved with conventional operations, and then you continue with the proxy war. That's the history, and that's what happens throughout. Proxy wars are the need for us to understand the proxy war game and these layers is that it is permanent. The level might vary, but it is permanent, and that is what should worry us. Yeah, I have classmates in Metis government, and they said after the PM entourage left for African visit, the pressure came from Bollywood to unban because channels banned by MIBs. I might be, might not be, but I don't think that is the case. I think unbanning them was good. Whether it's from Bollywood or not, I don't know. Because if you don't unban those channels, you don't know what they're doing. If you don't know what they're doing, then you can't respond. You don't know the thinking in Pakistan. Otherwise, you can't respond. That's the thing. Communication is something you shouldn't stop. Some way or the other, you should have capability to respond, and that will come only through communication. Thanks a lot, Ramki, for saying it's excellent. So I'm from Hyderabad and seen certain people from the old city area burst fireworks when Pakistan wins cricket matches against India. Yeah, that's what I said. You have this. You can't run away from it. How do you change them? There's a societal transformation required. It's a issue which we need to think differently. It's infuriating. I agree with you. But you see, look at this chap, Owaisi. You see, today Owaisi talks of Bharat, which he was not talking of before of Sindur. The other day I heard him saying, Bharat se hame kaun ukadega? Hum to Bharat ke hain. He's talking against Pakistan. Some might say, no, it's all political. That's good. Political change is good. Politically, now he knows that his bread and butter is here, not there. And that is come because he was allowed to speak as part of a delegation and he made a mark and it came and he was, felicitated or congratulated for the way he spoke. So there's a change. That change has to come through inclusiveness, societal inclusiveness. So those proxies which probably operate from Hyderabad are cut off. You have to make it, there's no other choice we have. There's no other choice. My own experience in Punjab was when I went and started operating in Punjab, for the first time in my life, I felt people in Punjab were against the army. Until, I started reacting and all that. After 3-4 months, people started warming up to me and saying, sir, you're different from what we experienced some time back, the height of insurgency. You have to think differently. Yeah, most of the proxy war is in government citizens via Gulf. If you look at Kerala from where I am, the radicalization came. I agree with you. How do you de-radicalize? That's the question with us. How do you de-radicalize? How do you decommunize? How do you marginalize the communists? How do you marginalize the radicals? I see it in Chennai. I'm from Chennai. I see that identity coming up. The Muslim identity was not that much in Chennai when I was younger and I left for the army. But I come back, I see more identity. That's the first step to radicalism. On the flip side, Pakistan wants the world to think they are a proxy, allows them to blame. Yeah, that's it. That's a psychology. I agree with you. Proxy countries new normal. It is. I'm glad some of you started thinking the way I'm thinking. I mean, I've given you a new idea of this business of proxy. Some countries thrive as proxies. They don't have an identity of their own. They will lend themselves to be proxies. Pakistan has a huge history. Qatar is the biggest supporter and funder of jihadis. I agree with you. Yeah. Let me take some new people. Jai in my humble opinion, we need to be proactive in our approach towards our neighbors like Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, and Sri Lanka. I agree with you. But how? Because some of our policies have created more proxies than reduced them. Of course, Bangladesh at this point of time is a different kettle of fish, and none of these things are going to happen in a hurry. What's happened in Bangladesh will probably, you need a leader, elected leader with whom you can talk. This fellow is a complete idiot. So we need to have a different way of doing things, but that's in the future. Yeah, Vasu, good morning. How view India-US relations, and it seems US wants isolation of India. Yeah, I will talk of India-US relations separately because, like I said, that's a matter of concern. And I and General Brigadier Arun Sehgal will talk of it. It's been in my radar. He's been out for some time. This week he'll come back. Next week, sometime we'll talk of it. It's important. It's a long-term thing. No point doing it in a hurry. Yeah. Could anyone help me directions or information how to visit Ghana Short shop for merchandise? Yeah, I'll just tell everyone what I'm saying. This whole story. Look, I set up this merchandise shop based on some wonderful designs which were drawn by a well-known designer. And this designer has done post-graduation abroad and been in Getty. Getty Museum, Getty Pictures there. Wonderful. I gave an idea and the designer has come up with all these designs. And then I'm not very business minded. I said, okay, these designs are beautiful. Let's set up this merchandise shop. So fine. So went through YouTube because I have no other way of doing it. So I went through YouTube for this, and you'll see that in every video, after every video in the YouTube, if you, any video of, you'll see below that a lot of items in that merchandise. We right now put out mugs, we put out T-shirts, we put out hats and things like that, and I can go more. Okay, with better designs. All right, and then you press on that, it will take you to a shop called Fourth Wall. And from there, you order whatever you want as per your sizes. Your sizes are available, different varieties are available, qualities are available by. And you can get it, it will be delivered to your house. And the quality is good. That's the feedback I got from that Fourth Wall. Now, the issue is Fourth Wall is based in USA. For those of you who are in India, it's not economical. I'm being very honest. I myself didn't buy one for myself because it's prohibitively expensive for someone in India. So I'm trying to locate someone who is in India who can make the same thing and who's affiliated with YouTube, because that will be easy. So the moment you want to buy that merch off YouTube, you don't have to go anywhere. Press that link or press that item behind underneath in the just be under the video link and the description. Those things come out. Press anything and you can buy order. But right now it's abroad. Maybe in about 10-15 days I'll get it in through an Indian merch. This thing. So just be patient. Right. The designer was fabulous, so I fell for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone. But I think it's worth it, and that I've also encouraged the designer not to charge too much profit. What that Fourth Wall was saying that you can charge us profit, I've cut it down by 50%. I said, don't take so much profit. If that's the case, you don't. And those people who have bought, who are in abroad, go ahead, buy, worth it. And if you need anything more, let me know and I'll get them made. Right. But uh, right, and I'm going to put more guns and more missiles and all that. That I'll get a huge bouquet of those designs. And we made one with a tank already going to come in. So, and soon I'll get them made for India also. Just be patient, okay? So I hope Sundaram have answered that question, right? So also speak of the point 0.5 front spoken by General Rawat. Yeah, this is part of that 0.5 front which I'm talking of. One solution for us is to create proxies as well in Baloch, TTP for Pakistan, Tibet, Taiwan. Yeah, I agree with you, but we have to have a game plan for it. That's the important thing, that we have to have a game plan for it. Right. If you don't have a game plan, there's no this thing. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Wolf, for having grifted 5 Ganashot members. Yeah. Sir, should India increase its internal homeland security with parallel forces taking over? I think that's one of the things, we need to have more emphasis on homeland security with states on board. What the states can do, what the local policemen can do, no paramilitary force can do. What people can do, NCC and things like that, home guards, they are the ones who can do a hell of a lot because they know what's happening in their mohalla and everything. Let me also explain to you. I was deployed in remote parts of Assam and jungles, really, absolute jungles. I had no intelligence. I had no way of developing intelligence in those tribal areas. The people who helped me were Assam police, of all. Tribal Assams, tribal policemen of that area. They used to go mix with villagers in their homes and come back and tell me what's the problem. And we used to solve the problems. And when we started solving their problems, then we started getting information about terrorists. And what were their problems? Their problems were simple: water, ability to go from place A to place B. Very simple problems. India has very simple problems. If we can solve the simple problems, the complicated problems take care of themselves. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay. Yeah, your cartoons are superb. Thanks a lot. Today I didn't have a cartoon because today, to be very honest, I just came back from the walk. I just had about half an hour where I just uploaded and got ready, and I'm here. Yeah, how different sections of societies counter these proxies, teenagers, working professionals, and all. Just by awareness, just by having lot of community meetings, mohalla meetings, and village meetings, a lot of things get sorted out. Teenage groups, colleges, like any college who asked me to come and talk, I would like to go and talk. Not many have called. That's a different story. I have not been. But it is those young people who have to be impressed upon. You impress upon them, things will change. Yeah. Create proxies. No, we don't have to do that. Yeah. Ignoring the proxies frustrates them more than reacting. Yeah, one way is to ignore them. The other way is to engage them from behind, from a different direction. I mean, you have to have a multi-directional approach for this. There's no one size fits all. Sanctions are really good for us. It means free to do anything on our own and we must come out of our comfort zone. I'm not surprised by you. I agree with you. We should be prepared. We have a good past in handling sanctions. So let's do that again. There's no harm. Adversity is your best friend in having things done. Yeah. Thanks a lot. I'm also proud of all of you who do attend. Okay. Will we be at some time forced to choose a side? It's never happened. We've always been forced to choose a side and we have not done it. We cannot be a huge power in the future and be fully autonomous strategically. It's clear that there will be a binary US versus China security bloc. Yeah, I agree with you. There will be binaries. Look, why do you think I spoke of RIC? 4 days back, I spoke of RIC. Why? Look, heart of hearts, our future lies with USA. If you want to grow, you have to align yourself with USA. Your long-term relationship is with USA because you have huge equities in USA. But you have, which was my complete conviction till about 2 months back. But 2 months back, I started getting doubts. Come Op Sindoor, those doubts have become bigger. Okay. So we should get out of that comfort mode because if America can switch sides, so can we. But our side is not China. Equally, side is not China because China, America, their interest comes to Pakistan. So what is our side? That is why yesterday, if you see what I did with John Helmer, I did this video with John Helmer on conflicts and consequences of war. We covered three. And towards the end, I said, is it time for us to align with Russia in a bigger manner than we do? So that you get some balance. Is there a thinking of that kind, or you want to go the normal route, or you need to have hedges? Difficult answers. I can talk sitting in my chair. It's an armchair. I can talk like an armchair strategist. Difficult choices we have, but we have to tread that difficult path. Yeah, the bigger question of USA was expected to come one day when India had to choose Russia over USA. I think so. We don't have to choose one over the other. You don't have to choose one over the other, even in the case of China. You have to be practical to play one off of the other and hold your fort. And my experience is the US guys understand. If you are tough with them, they understand. Yeah, how much this BJP government is successful in tackling these proxies? Well, external proxies they have tackled well so far. Internal proxies, probably not well. Probably not so well. You know, they need to do more. I'll put it that way. The violence in the country has come down, there's no doubt. And that violence would have come down anywhere with progress. As people progress, the violence always comes down. But the thinking, you need to do a lot of political thinking for this. It's not vote bank thinking. There's a difference between vote bank politics and building national nations politics of that. They're two different things. Of late, I see BJP trying to build the nation, which was not evident to me earlier. Yeah. I don't think we have an option to sit in the camp of USA, given that USA is untrustworthy. We are surrounded by anti-American regimes, and we have dependence on Russia for. I agree and disagree with you, VS. We have to sit in some chap's camp if you want someone else to sit in your camp. It could be Barsati, it could be seasonal. But you should not say that I'm not going to sit in anyone's camp. Our future lies in how you balance India, Russia and USA against China and Pakistan. Very difficult question, but that's the way to go forward. In between, how do you handle the EU, which is resurging? We have difficult questions. And part of the reason why we have this difficult question is we are rising. Yeah, India's population has fallen below 2 per woman as per some claims. Would we have a demographic change like China in about 20 years? Not 20 years, maybe 30, 40 years. It depends on how we grow and how our values get eroded. I don't know at this point of time. I don't have answers for it. Yeah, the country, US is a country that is not an ally of anyone. They are allies of interest. I agree with you. So should we be. As simple as that. Why should we be different? Is there any way of keeping the US away from Indo-Pak issues? No way. Sorry, that will not happen. Yeah. Good morning from California. Love to follow your podcast. Your knowledge of geopolitics is phenomenal. I learn a lot. Thanks a lot. Look, Varun, the way I look at it is I think more Indians from US should listen to what I talk because many people, why I say this, even my son is there. So I keep meeting his friends and all that. They have a different view of India, right? And those who are sitting there, after 2-3 years, there's a distancing which happens. Because when they come only for a little while and go back. They don't understand grassroots India. And that is what is something which I want to convey to all of you. You're looking at a different India. I see a different India from what I saw when I was a young kid, when I go on the streets, everyday life. A lot of things have changed. And that's the India I want to convey to everyone. And it's a very powerful India. Remember, we're one of the most powerful countries in the world. We don't understand our own power. And those of you who are in USA are actually the power of India there. You're projecting power. You're projecting power, India's power there. And that's something which all of you need to understand. Yeah. Isn't best defense a good offense? Shouldn't we be proxying others at least as much? Yeah, I agree with you. You need to have some offense. You need to be more proactive. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, please like this video, share it with your SM circle and subscribe to the channel. Yeah, thanks a lot, Shiv Prakasam. You have again come back. Thanks a lot and coming back. India is definitely on the radar, but the time has not come. The current target is China, and they need India for this. After China they will turn against India. Look, let me tell something which I keep telling everyone. There's a limit to what they can do with India. Why? China was an aided economy. Japan was an aided economy. Germany was an aided economy. These three economies were aided and built by USA to reach where they have reached. India was an opposed economy. India has been opposed by USA, not now, right from 60s. Even before. The very creation of Pakistan was against India. The entire West doesn't like India because they see that India cannot be controlled. They can't target us. Okay. On the other hand, just think for a minute. You might like or not like Mamdani, who's so active in US. The US people also might like or not like Mamdani. But it is a phenomenon which is happening with Indian origins. There'll be more Mamdanis who will come up in the future. There'll be more Usha Vances coming out in the future. There'll be more Kamala Harris which will come out in the future. Many of you who are in USA, your children will all be US citizens with rights to become the president of USA. That scares the US guy. Not the Chinese. The Chinese don't have a political sense. The Chinese in USA have run away from their political system and they would be loved to be apolitical. But we are democratic. We understand democracy. We understand democracy better than the Americans. We understand politics better than Americans. Okay? And the politics of each state is different from the other state, which the Americans don't understand. So there are limits. Your soft power is huge. So leave it at that. Yeah. Aditya Junjunwala, thanks a lot for your compliment. Right. Color Earth. USA uses Islam as proxies in most countries and destabilizes other countries. Now you see Islam extremism is flourishing around the world. But USA didn't understand because, yeah, I agree with you there completely. I agree with you. Okay. There are some well-meaning people in Pakistan, but their army, ISI, and terrorist outfits supporting one another. Yeah, there are well-meaning people everywhere. In Pakistan, the number of well-meaning people are very minuscule. As long as there are divisive opposition parties, politicians, regardless of government in power, will never be at peace. Case in point, West Bengal CM repeatedly enables violence when it suits her. That's our history. If people still in West Bengal have elected her repeatedly, there must be something more which you and I are not seeing. Are you telling me that the people of West Bengal are fools not to vote her out? So let's not typecast anyone. In a country like ours, we have to accept diversity, different thought processes. I'm not for her. I've seen her actions long before she was this thing. To some extent, I agree with what you're saying, Kritik. But you need to understand viewpoints. That's what I'm trying to put across. If you don't understand viewpoints, there will be a problem. So Mandarin staying in India, people might not like. But here in USA, immigrant like us like the guy. An immigrant living in USA looks at him differently than we would. I agree with you. I agree with you because when you go there differently, you are in a different society, you act differently. Right? That Mandarin guy who's sitting in USA will act differently. But what I'm trying to make out is he's not a political animal the way Indians are. Indians by nature are political because we have grown up that way. All of us are exposed to politics right from school days. And that's a reality because our duality of our politics. Where each state you go, there's a ruling and opposition party which is quite different from what is there in the center. So you have to use your political acumen right from your younger days to be, you're sensitive. That sensitivity the Chinese don't have. Whether they're Mandarin or otherwise, they don't have because they've only grown up seeing the CCP and obeying that CCP and nothing else. So when they come to a open society like USA, I don't think they know how to act in that. They'll get ahead in life, they'll do a lot of other things, all that. But politically, they are not able to handle. And this is my observation after having gone to USA for many times. I studied in USA, so I'm talking with that. And when I studied in USA, I interacted with a lot of these Chinese there. And Chinese who are in US government, I've spoken to them also. So there's a different dynamic there. Yeah. Has our government absolutely lost its mind by unbanning PAC? We've discussed this. I enjoyed much your conversation with John this morning. Thanks, because that was a very educated conversation. And John was speaking, which I know is a different viewpoint completely, not my viewpoint, against my viewpoint. But yet I spoke to him. Why? You have to converse and understand viewpoints. I mean, John is very uh, entrenched in Russian point of view, and he stayed ever so long in Moscow. He's not a Russian, right? Incidentally, he's an American who's staying in Russia because he had his wife and he lost his wife there, and he has a viewpoint. We need to understand those viewpoints. We have a different viewpoint about Iran. He has a different viewpoint of Iran. He has a different viewpoint of China. We have a different viewpoint of China. So we put across our viewpoints, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I would recommend all of you to see that video. Tibet game on, it seems. Dalai Lama is making announcement about incarnate. I'll talk of this a little later. Let the thing come out. He's just made that announcement that how incarnation will happen. We'll get to that a little. Maybe next week I'll talk of it. Yeah, excellent analysis. I have become a good big fan. Thank you. Yeah. What about non-aligned ideology, which advocated? We're still that. Is there any change between the non-aligned ideology of that era and now? You still want strategic autonomy. It is just words. It is just that earlier in the non-aligned thing, non-aligned made. Look, let me tell you, I was all of 5 years service when the non-aligned meet took place in India. At that time, Indira Gandhi was the prime minister and Narasimha Rao was the external affairs minister. I've interacted with Fidel Castro, I've interacted with Yasser Arafat, and I've interacted with so many people. I was just a young officer who was an ADC to the president of Lesotho. And unfortunately, that poor man got assassinated 2 years later. That's a different story, right? I've interacted with a lot of those non-aligned people at that point of time, and I understood the politics of non-alignment then. Except the fact that the US people were not there or the Russians were not there and all those 70, 80 countries of non-alignment which were there, you're there. That's the global south today. That's what you call the global south. You're still championing it. The only difference is you want strategic autonomy with the global south, with the West and the Russia and all that. You're still doing that. You just upped your level one higher. There's no difference between non-alignment then and now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Morning. Logging in late. We'll catch up. Yeah. Thanks a lot. What about biological weapons? Don't worry. They're not that simple. America and Han are equally unreliable and deceitful. I agree with you. Let's go fast forward and see. Chinese scientists had come up with cured 1-2 diabetes. We should be positive on China. Yeah, you have that. You'll get third type of diabetes. Okay, I don't trust China. I've seen them across the fence here. Welcome user. I've seen them in the bear thing across the LAC. I know what they are. I have no respect for them. Yeah, I agree with General Shankar. This realization I have come to after living in the West for many years and understood their man's. Yeah. What is Usha Vance good for? She is good. You know why? She takes your mentality there. Okay? She might not do, she doesn't have to do anything directly to us. She doesn't feed me. She doesn't, but there's a projection. Is there an equivalent of Usha Vance in Chinese? Or for that matter, Russian? You don't have. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm currently in US. My future children will grow up in a prosperous India. Many Indians in the US have plans to come back. I have no issue. I have no issue both. US, you can you need to be thinking bigger, and India will be prosperous. People will come back. I have no doubt. I'm also hoping my son comes back. Yeah, this is important. Europe grew with US help. India grew despite pushbacks from Europe, and even now we are facing pushbacks. That's why I feel India is unstoppable. We have a lot of problems. I mean, I'm not going to decry. We are not the greatest country in the earth. We're not the greatest people on the earth. No, there are others. But what India has gone through, I don't know whether many countries have gone through. And that brings steel into us. Okay. That brings steel into us. And that is why we are indestructible. Sir, concur, American kids of Indian origin have little interest in India. They are more American than Indian. India, in my views, must not be dependent on Americans of Indian. No, I am not. I'm not dependent on them. But they are a constituency. They will root for America. Like this Vivek Ramaswamy, if he becomes the president of America tomorrow, he will talk for America. He's not this thing. But somewhere or the other, he will seek his roots. And that I'm very confident. As we become old, that happens. Yeah, let me see. Pakistan officers, yeah, welcome user. It seems to be from Pakistan. Officers get their certified official diploma from the US Army's Command and General Staff College. They are accredited. All that nonsense we know. Yeah. Even I am accredited. Even I've got a degree from them. Don't worry. Don't think you're the only guys. Yeah, never trust Chinese. I agree with you completely. Yeah, Indian Americans are more American than Americans. I agree with you there also. I've had experiences in France of the chap from Pondicherry who the chap from Pondicherry who goes to France, he behaves more French than the chap from the French itself. And in my dealings with them, I found that the French were better. The original French people were much far better than this guy from Pondicherry. I see that's just a problem with everyone. You want to be more loyal than the king. Concur, difficult to trust the Chinese. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, Highlander. Good morning from Arunachal Pradesh. Your views on CCP build up in eastern sector. Thanks a lot. I agree with you. I've also been to Arunachal. I've been right up to Kibitu. I've been up to Bumla. I've also been to Anini, Rowing, and all those places and those wonderful places. And everyone from Arunachal with whom I've dealt with are great people. And they have no commonality with anyone from China whom I met. And they're more Indian than many of us. So I have my complete respect to people from Arunachal. Yeah, like your humor, which you rarely expect. Yeah, yeah. we have to be smiling. Right. Thanks a lot. I've done for the day. I hope I've taken most of the questions. What I'd like to put across to you is today evening we're going to have a slightly different session. Uh, my session today is about what's happening in Afghanistan and how Afghanistan is handling China. Right, join in at about 8 o'clock in the evening or 7:38. I don't know. This will be a thing with alternate media, and it'll be in Hindi. I'll intersperse English also so that people from who don't understand Hindi also can put in, because there's something funny happening in Afghanistan. And Afghanistan has cancelled a huge contract with China, which no one else has done. I want to talk of what's happening there and plus other issues concerning China. Till then, join in. And I like to keep my morning sessions more interactive, and I'll take more questions, right? And get your views. I see your views. I like the idea that all of you are agreeing or disagreeing with each other. That promotes better understanding of viewpoints and getting more interaction. So join in. Morning will be more interactive. I'll have more time to do everything, right? I'm relaxed. After this, I'll have my breakfast, old man, and then I'll go to IIT in the afternoon and interact with whatever kids who depend on me for my for the thing. But evening is a little rushed because it depends on someone else, right? Morning is my time, and my time is your time, right? That's why I say, please join in. We need to have more conversation. Okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a great time till evening. Jai Hind.